This video is for the laziest people ever, the ones who don't have time to read an entire book and want to get the gold nugget right away. This video is for you! Now, more seriously, this book is one of my favorite ones. I would say within all the books I have read about NLP and hypnosis, this one is definitely in my top 3 because it is one that has allowed me to learn by myself much more effectively. So I wanted to do a bit of giving you the best things I have gotten from this book, at least the main essential things you can start to use right away for yourself. First of all, the benefit of this book, as they said during the beginning, I think, the first 18 months of our life, when we are from 0 years old to 18 months later, this is the moment of our life where we learn most of the things. We actually, according to them, learn more during this period of life than we learn throughout the whole rest of our life. And the goal of the process described in this book is to tap into that incredible magical learning capacity, getting back into that potential to learn anything you want extremely fast. And now, the way I have been benefiting from that technology, the Deep Trance Identification, it is that, as you know, in NLP there are so many techniques, it is so confusing, overwhelming, all those terms that you have never heard before, and using the process described in this book allowed me to simplify and reduce to only what I needed to learn for myself, depending on where I was on my own learning curve. So you can use the process described in this book or some of the processes described to accelerate your learning, because you will see more clearly, okay, from all this realm of techniques that I have never heard about, actually I only need this right now or that right now, but I certainly don't need everything, because most beginners think they need to learn everything before they can actually start to use the technology, the NLP tools, the covert hypnosis tools, whatever. They think they need to master everything first, which is not true. You can only have 2 or 3 techniques and get going, and you will keep learning down the road. I am probably still learning every time I do a new hypnosis session. So you don't need to know everything first. You can simply start by something simple and then accelerate your learning. Basically, the process described in this book is about age regression, which is a very famous concept in hypnosis. It is you get back through time, down to a moment of your life where you had a problem, and then you reframe that problem, and the rest of your life, all your bad memories are changed, not erased, but changed so that it doesn't affect you. It is a basic concept of age regression. In this book, in the Deep Trance Identification method, it is kind of different. It is not to solve a past problem. It is going back through time up to a point where, well, maybe up to a point where there was a problem, but to a point where you were able to learn things more enjoyably, and you grow up as if you were somebody who would be able to solve all the problems you have right now, depending on what you want to learn. If you want to learn how to recover from a trauma, then it might be therapeutic. But if you want to use that to learn how to be a successful hypnotist or how to be a great poker player or whatever you want to learn, you can simply go back through time in trance and imagine that you are that person, that great role model you want to look like back when you were 5 years old, 10 years old, 12 years old, and you, through trance, go through all the stages of life as if you had always been that person. Which means, even if that's not consciously going to change all your memories of childhood memories, but it is going to enhance the capacity of your brain to develop new skills faster, because your brain will get some imprint of, oh, what it would have been like if I had been growing up that way. And therefore the present situation, your present time, is going to be enhanced. Your present life in the present moment is going to be enhanced by all those insights you have from your past life, from your childhood, which is actually not your childhood, the childhood of that other person, but will be enhanced by that person. Obviously, to do that process on the trance, you need to have a lot of data on the actual person you want to model. If you have just read one paragraph, one LinkedIn biography or Instagram post about that person, that's not enough. You may still have some insights, but it's not enough. The best is if you have been able to watch hours and hours of videos of that person, and even better if you have had access, well, direct access to the person obviously, but even better if you had access to to some specific events, like you have been able to read about or watch on a documentary, maybe some some events from the childhood of that person. That way your unconscious will be able to identify to what it would have been like if I had had the same reference experiences as that person through time. But even if you don't have this, it's still okay as long as you have been watching enough content about while that person is demonstrating the skill that you want to reproduce. This is going to be enough. And there are different variations of that technique in the book, different subtleties, different tricks you can use to amplify the effect of that method and to tweak the thing until you find a version that really suits you personally. And there is another concept from all the ones discussed in the book that is great. One concept that really helped me to develop my skills in NLP, even when I was in coaching with somebody, but even for myself, when I was practicing, wanting to develop skills for myself, it is the idea of the counter model. I don't know if that actually comes from the author of that book, or if he learned that somewhere else, maybe. But in any case, that is a great concept. So the counter model is you take the role model, like that great person you want to look like, and you take a counter model, somebody who knows nothing, the dumbest shit ever, the guy who knows nothing about what you want to do, he knows nothing about the role model, no, absolutely nothing, and therefore using that counter model will help you to dissociate better and to understand what is the main difference between somebody mastering it and somebody who doesn't have a clue about how it works. It will make the distinction more clear, because if you only try to do it with yourself sometimes, like what do I need, it may be difficult, because if you are stuck in a problem right now, trying to imagine what would I do if I was that role model may be tricky, because you may have some trouble to dissociate from your own head to look at your situation from an external perspective. Whereas if you use a counter model that is not you, it becomes incredibly easier, because you're not emotionally attached anymore to the problems you want to solve or to where you are stuck in life right now. You can avoid projecting. You can project a blank mind, because you're using a counter model that has no clue about what's happening. And this is a whole process through trance, and that way you can make better comparisons and have a better understanding of what do you need to do. If you were that person, what would you need to do to get to the level of that incredible role model? It is how it works. And there is a lot more tricks in the book. I think it is an incredibly great book for any NLP practitioner or any person interested into NLP, because there are a lot of processes described that you can use as a professional coach or therapist. And for actual results that I got by using the technology described in that book, I noticed that the changes I was experiencing after using that method to model a great hypnotist or any other person I wanted to model, what I noticed is that the changes were always unconscious and were almost always things I was not even aware of, things I didn't even know I would need to get to the level of that role model. Like, let's say I watch this great person and I think, oh, okay, so if I want to be like him, I need to do this maybe and that. And okay, I have some insights, conscious mind insights, but then I did a deep trance identification and I don't really have any specific image in mind or like some feelings, but it's kind of vague, blurry. But then a few days later, I noticed something in my behavior changed. That you know about that. If you have been doing hypnosis, you know how it works. It's usually not on time that it changes. It's usually days later or weeks later, sometimes on the actual moment, but it's usually more later that it happens. And for example, with I think it was for hypnosis or some related skills, some related communication skills around hypnotic communication, I noticed that after doing the deep trance identification, I was way more calm when I was working with somebody. I think I had been modeling Bandler or I don't know, somebody else maybe, but whatever, or maybe Milton Erickson. And I was becoming more calm whenever I had a client in front of me. But the point I want to make here is, did I have any conscious idea that I would need to be more calm? No, nothing. Like, if you had been asking me before, what do you need to become like Erickson? I would have said a lot of things, but nothing like being calm. I thought that my energy level was perfect, nothing to change. But actually, after doing the DTI, the main thing that changed was that I became way more chilled out and calm. But I had no clue I would need that. So that is the point I want to make. When you start to use that kind of technology, your unconscious mind develops things you were not even aware that you would need. Doing this process of making a contrast between you and somebody who is way more advanced will help your unconscious mind to figure out, oh, okay, I just need this specific thing. It is why I said in the beginning of this video that it helps you to simplify and reduce what you need, because by having this contrast with a great role model, your unconscious will be able to figure out what is the main specific thing you need and not be caught into 1,000 different techniques that you will never use, but just the one main thing you need at this current moment in time. And then it will evolve. Then maybe you will do the DTI again 6 months later after having practiced a bit more, and you will realize that something else is changing in your behavior and in your mind, because you have been accumulating more knowledge, more experience. Therefore, your unconscious mind will be able to figure out some more tricks that it needs, some more changes that it needs to get to the next level. It is an ongoing process. Now, I have been developing a whole program on modeling, not just the DTI, but also other techniques. It is in the description if you want to check it out. It is one of my best programs so far in terms of the changes it brings to the people following the program. And there is a whole trance that I created myself based on the Deep Trance Identification process, but I have added a lot more things into the whole thing. But if you want to check it out, it is in the description, and I will see you in the next video.